Thank you, Jason David Frank.
And Mr. Saban.
That's Tom.
And that's Chris. You think it's rough going to your job and to school every day.
Imagine being a Power Ranger.
We're going to talk about the stress of the Ranger life, so stick around.
It's PRNT time.
This is Jason David Frank, the Green Ranger. You are watching PRNT. Wow, wow.
Welcome, Rangers.
This is an episode of
PRNT,
your source for all things
Power Rangers.
As we get started, we want you to imagine with us.
It's been a long day. You finally have a second to yourself. However, you have to spend it in the bathroom. So you're doing your business when suddenly...
Oh man, right now?
Thank you, Jason David Frank.
Chris! You gotta talk to me before you teleport me in, man.
Oh.
That could have been really bad, and no one wants to see that.
So, as you can see,
the life of a ranger can be very stressful. You know, the constant battles, the constant training, so on and so forth. Plus, your communicator could go off at any given moment.
yeah, like, Tom actually brought that idea to me one day, and I was driving to work, and I just kept thinking, a Power Ranger really has to be careful when they have to use the bathroom.
Or do anything else for that reason. I mean, it's just... I can only imagine some of the times it has gone off in the most inconvenient times. But anyways, this episode again is about the stress of the Ranger life, and we know it has to be a very stressful life that takes its toll. I mean, we're going to talk about here four points, four of the main points that really identify the stress of the Ranger life.
That's right.
So the first point we're going to talk about is the physical, of course. That's the most obvious. They're constantly fighting, and when they're not fighting, they're training. Okay, and if they're not training, some of them are in school, like in the original series, or trying to live their normal lives. And it's just the physical toll that these guys go through has to be astronomical. Now, yes, we know the morphing grid does kind of provide them with strength and things like that, but it can only do so much.
Right.
I mean, the physical aspect has to be extremely stressful. And we see it kind of reach its point, ironically, at the series finale of every season. We literally see themselves give almost everything they have physically to finally finish off their villain.
Yeah, a lot of times they're even in those battles where when they've lost their powers or stuff, to prove how much they are willing to physically sacrifice of themselves in order to fight for good.
Right.
Another way this is very stressful is emotionally. Emotional stress, I think, can be even tougher to deal with than physical stress.
True.
And in some cases I'm talking about, we see them at constant alert. They don't know when something's going to happen, so they have to be ready at all times.
That constant fear.
That constant fear. We also see how it's emotionally draining because of loss of allies, such as Kendrix in Lost Galaxy, when she passed, only to return. So we don't know how she actually passed.
She did, though.
She died and then came back.
Yeah.
Jen seeing Alex again pass in Time Force, only to return.
Yeah.
And then Troy with the loss of Robo Knight in Megaforce. We definitely see at, especially in the beginning half of Super Megaforce, where he's just kicking himself over Robo Knight, and where did he go? What happened to him?
Right.
So emotionally, it is very stressful to be a Power Ranger.
Yeah, so those are the two main ones. Something you may not think of, but we did, is family life. I mean, yes, we see them interacting as Rangers, as friends most of the time, but these people have families too. Mm-hmm. I mean, and just having to balance between friends and Power Rangers and jobs and school and so on and so forth. Family life isn't portrayed much, but it's something that, of course, is going to add stress to that. The prime example here is in the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers with Kim. Her mom and her stepdad moved to France.
Right.
And she has to weigh that option. She's a ranger, but her family is moving. So does she go? Does she stay? What does she do? She wants to keep that family life intact, of course, but that has to be extremely stressful. Now, luckily, Aisha, her parents, kind of took Kim in, and so that kind of let Kim continue to be a ranger, and her parents were still able to move to France.
Right. Another time we see this is with Wes from Time Force. He is basically being groomed to take over the family business,
right.
And he decides to push all that away to fight for good and become a Power Ranger. And we see the stress between him and his father and how their relationship is starting to break down.
Right.
But then, luckily, towards the end, that relationship is built back up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, again, family life, it's very rough on a Power Ranger.
Sure, yeah.
Our final point is, like I was just talking about, relationships, romantic relationships, is what we're going to focus on right now. And our biggest example that I could think of was Zach from the original Mighty Morphin, how he was always flirting with Angela and how he finally got the yes, but he ended up having to stand her up for Ranger duties. And we see a lot of relationships, or a few relationships start to form outside of the Ranger family, and they don't tend to normally work out. It's only relationships that are formed within the team that end up being strong.
And then those can be stressful too, like Wes and Jen. There was that
Right.
concept there, which I'm sure added stress to the team and so on and so forth. Something we did notice watching the seasons is that for some reason the writers of the show really don't show the effects of stress too much. I mean, yeah, we see him kind of down when Tommy got the Dear John letter from Kim. He spent some time feeling down about that, but they don't really talk about the stress too much. The Rangers just do what they need to do, get up, and go. However, there was one moment where we did see the stress of a Ranger kind of affect somebody, Chris.
Right. Ziggy from RPM, he did do the right thing by attaching the morpher to himself instead of allowing it to fall into the hands of evil. However, you could definitely tell he was not able to handle stress well. He was a very clumsy Ranger, and I would probably say he was one of the least effective Rangers in the entire series, and I feel it is because he wasn't able to handle the stress like most Rangers are.
Right. There's still it was refreshing to see somebody kind of struggle with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are our 4 main points of things that add stress to the Ranger life. Now, something kind of funny. Before I talk about this, I want you to know we have our entire episode list planned out
For season 1.
For season 1, yes. But imagine my surprise when I opened up the Boom Studios Power Rangers first annual, and the very first story is about, guess what?
The stress of a Ranger life.
Yeah, in that we see Jason, as the week progresses, Monday he's up, he's training, he's ready to go. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, as the week goes on, the bags under his eyes get, more and more heavy. We see him kind of struggling more, turning in papers late, because he's waking up early to train, finishing homework at breakfast, going to school, training after school. The monster comes in, and he has to fight them, and then he has his karate class at like 7 p.m. So sometimes he makes it, sometimes he doesn't, and by Saturday he is just done. He sleeps like all day.
Right.
And then kind of a rest day on Sunday they show, but Monday morning comes back around and it starts again. So that was just something funny, and it was kind of nice to see somebody else thinking about the stress of the Ranger life besides just us.
If you have not picked up the Power Ranger Annual yet, definitely do so.
Right.
Thank you for subscribing, commenting, and sharing this video. If you go here, you can like us on Facebook.
If you go here, you can follow us on Twitter.
If you go here, you can follow us on Instagram.
And as we sign off, remember our hope is that the power will always protect you.
Let's power down. We will be revealing the winner of the Jason David Frank autographed PRNT t-shirt on October 7th.
So make sure you have your entries in by October 5th to qualify.
That's right. You can put your entry in by subscribing to this channel. Make sure your page is public so we can see you're subscribed.
Make sure you're following us on Twitter. And then we want to hear your favorite Tommy moment too, so tweet that to us.
So, the 3 things: subscribe, follow us on Twitter, and tweet us your favorite Tommy moment. Good luck to all of you.
We'll see you next time.